long overdue. I'm 4 months post-op. I was supposed to give you guys a 3-month update, and I didn't. I forgot. I've been getting a lot of questions about who my doctor was, the clinic I went to, and basically just the ins and outs, the good, bad, and ugly with surgery. So, with that being said, I had surgery at Mia Aesthetics, and my doctor was Dr. Georges, if I'm saying it right, Dr. G, whatever we call him, the Ethiopian natural body god, whatever we all call him. Like I said, it's been four months, so I'm about, 17 weeks, babe? I had surgery July 27th. Okay, so around there. So let's get straight into it. I'm not gonna prolong. I'm gonna walk you guys through from pre-op to surgery day to my time in Miami and basically when I got home for the most part. So pre-op day, I see everyone always has this question about pre-op. What does pre-op consist of? You basically fly in pre-op day, and once again, this is from Mia Aesthetics. I don't know about any other clinic or their procedure or what they do. But with Mia Aesthetics, if your surgery is on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday or even a Friday, you come in the day before surgery. Unlike if your surgery is on a Monday, because the office is closed on Sunday, you have pre-op and surgery the same day. My surgery was on a Tuesday, so pre-op was on a Monday. So I flew into Miami July 26th. I had pre-op at I want to say it was either 3:30 or 4 p.m. I don't remember. But I ended up going into pre-op. When you get there, you check in. Now, once again, like I said, this is a review. This is based off of my experience. Everyone has had different experiences with Mia Aesthetics. I personally didn't have a bad experience from when I put my deposit down, my consultation, to even my concierge. She was amazing. I would ask her a question, and within 15 minutes to 20 minutes, I got a response. I didn't have to wait days for a response like I see some girls say that they had to go through. I didn't have that issue. But anyway, to go back to pre-op, when you come in, you check in, you give them your ID. They ask you who your doctor is. I will say the girls at the check-in counter they're terrible. There's no personality. They're just dry and cutthroat. And that's not what I was expecting, because I was expecting more upbeat, more personable. But once again, those are the check-in counter girls. So after that, they give you a stack this thick. I kid you not. It's this thick. And you have to fill out all this paperwork. You have to sign. And majority of the paperwork, I kid you not, is about COVID. And of course, if the risks that you're taking while taking surgery and just basically everything that could possibly go wrong, what you agree to, your post-op care, payment, all that good stuff is in this packet that is about thick. I've seen some girls say it took them about an hour to an hour and a half to fill out that packet, and that's simply because they're reading everything. Honestly, I ain't do all that. I just skimmed through, I read what was important, and then kept it pushing. The only thing that I really went into depth with was payment process, and God forbid something was supposed to happen to you after surgery, the hospitals that are nearby and all that stuff. And even after that, I still forgot that. But everything else, I didn't need to read the risk because I did my research. With Mia Aesthetics in the Miami location, I don't know about all the other locations. You do not need to have a COVID test. A lot of these clinics in Miami require a COVID test. Miami doesn't. Well, Mia Aesthetics doesn't require that. So moving forward, after you're done your packet, you hand it in, you go back and sit down and wait again. So now I only had to wait for about, I want to say maybe 20 minutes after I filled out my packet, if that. And I want to say I was hella nervous. I was sitting there, I was like, oh my God, my heart is beating fast. I can't believe I'm doing this shit. All these things was going through my mind. The lady from the department that basically checks your BMI, and she goes over pretty much the basics, it's everything with you, comes and takes you to the back. So you go to the back, and she was amazing. I don't remember her name, but she was very personable. We ended up having a conversation about her mama and her daddy, and she took my weight, took my height, she took photos of me. She asked me basically if I know the procedure. She explained everything to me, the do's and don'ts for surgery day. She gave me my package, which was my BBL pillow. She sized me for my stage 1 faja, and she told me about my ab boards. So she gave me my ab boards, and she gave me lipofoams. If I remember correctly, I got lipofoams, but I also bought my own as well. And I'm missing something else. Oh, and the Hibiclin soap. So if you've watched my vlogs before, you'll see that I say don't even bother getting Hibiclins because they end up giving it to you at the clinic. So that's just one thing that you don't have to pay for. So she went over basically what not to do, not putting deodorant on. Once again, I got more goddamn paperwork because they give you a whole bunch of paperwork. And she told me when not to eat and all that good stuff. So after she explained everything, and we sat there for like another, I want to say 10 minutes just talking, and then it took so long because we ended up talking about a whole bunch of other stuff, and then she was like basically telling me like, why the hell are you here getting surgery, because you really don't need surgery, like you look perfectly fine. She was like, but you just wasted money, and you know, we laughed about it. Then she explained to me that the next procedure was to go to the finance department, so which was just right across the hall. I ended up just having to literally take like 10 steps. She made me sit outside. She was like, just wait and the finance lady will come and get you. So moving forward, after that, you don't take your drug test and you don't take your pregnancy test until surgery day. They do not play, because you can sit there and be like, oh, I want to take my drug test right now, and they're like, no, you got to take it the next day. So another recommendation that I have, and I tell a lot of people that are interested in having surgery, do not pay that full balance prior to. Yes, you want to get it paid off, and you want to pay the $5,000 or the $4,000, $3,000, whatever your balance is. Do not pay it until you get there, because there is a great possibility that if you're a person that you're pushing it to your BMI, you can get canceled. You can get canceled if they find nicotine in your system. You can get canceled if you get a positive pregnancy test. And what you don't want to have is all this money that you just spent, and now you got to wait for a refund, and if they don't want to give it back to you, then you're asked out. So anyway, after we go to the finance department, I end up paying, but of course, I was actually the first person of the day that she told me that my card didn't get declined, which is crazy. But apparently everybody's cards was getting declined because, once again, if your bank doesn't know that you're out of state and you're making such a large purchase, you need to kind of let them know. Moving forward, yeah, after you pay for everything, and oh my god, I can't even forget about the girl in the finance department. The girl that I dealt with, she was such a sweetheart. Like, it was like she had like this, you know, like the awkwardness to her. She was really, really nice. And once again, that was another person that I came across that was really, really nice. I didn't have a bad experience, like I said, compared to most girls. So after I done paid, which it killed me to hand over my card and pay a balance of $5,000, but anyway, we're gonna continue on. I left and I went, and oh, that's the other thing. I got my prescription that day. So we ended up going to Walmart, but then the problem is, because I had pre-op so late, which pre-op was like 3:30 or 4 p.m., I can't remember the exact time, the office was closed by the time I got to Walmart, because I was their last patient for the day for pre-op. So by the time I got to Walmart, it was closed, and Walmart does not fill your prescription, like Percocets, like opioids and all that kind of stuff. They don't fill the prescription without speaking to the clinic. So that was another problem. And so keep that in mind, that if you have a late pre-op time and you get your prescription of pre-op day, there's a possibility that if you go to Walmart, or depending on the pharmacies, you might not be able to get your prescription that day. So we do that. We went to Walmart. We ended up going to do like some last minute shopping in Walmart and got like some little miscellaneous stuff like pineapple juice and all that good stuff, because I didn't carry that with me in my bag. Now, after all of that, we're in Walmart, and of course, like they told me before, I got my surgery time. And listen, every time I spoke to these people, I would tell them, I want an early morning surgery. I want an early morning surgery. I want to be his first patient or his second patient. I do not want to be a later in the day, no, because I didn't want to have to sit around and be nervous, nor did I want to get him when he was like 4 patients in, and at this point his ass is tired. I need him fresh and well rested. So they called when I was in Walmart, I want to say about like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I got that phone call where it was like, hey, your surgery is going to be at, what was it, 6:30? I think my surgery was. My surgery must have been like at 6:30 on Tuesday morning. I don't remember the exact time, but that happened. Now, you go home and they tell you you're supposed to shower with the Hibiclin soap the night before surgery and the day of surgery. So I did my shower, got that together, took a nice little nap. I was able to go to sleep. I see a lot of girls say that they didn't get any sleep. I slept. Now, surgery day comes. Once again, shower with the Hibiclin soap again. And then I was off to the clinic. Now, I was at the clinic and I think I sat in the waiting room for about, I want to say maybe 30 minutes before they brought, maybe 30 minutes to about 45. I sat in the waiting room, and of course everybody's all friendly, so we're all talking. I had my vision board. Don't bother bringing your BBL pillow. Don't bother bringing the your ab boards and your foams and all that stuff. Don't even bring any of that stuff. You don't need it because they're not going to use it. Anyway, sat there, spoke to some girls in there. Then they called me up. So I went to the back and she explained like pretty much the gist of certain things of what I was having, verified my name. I got my wristband, my medical band. Once again, she verified my doctor. Then of course came time to take the pregnancy test and a drug test. They actually make you pee with the bathroom door open. So you're in like a stall, and it's like in a little area and people are walking in and out. There's no privacy, and you have to pee in a cup for them right then and there. They do the pregnancy test and your drug test. So moving forward, I go back into the room. I'm taking my clothes off. You put on the gown, you put on your compression socks, your hat, whatever, shower cap, whatever you want to call it, and then you sit there and you wait again. So now I'm waiting for the doctor to come. So now I'm nervous as shit. Like I'm nervous as hell because I'm just like, bruh, I'm really doing this. So sitting there and I'm waiting for Dr. G to show up, and I hear him outside, and I hear the girl, I don't remember who she is, but I remember her telling him, yeah, she needs a cell saver. She has a cell saver. And the first thing he says is, how low is her hemo? And I'm like, oh shit. Am I about to get canceled? Because my hemo kept dropping. Like I went from like 11.6 to 11.5 to 11.4. And I feel like if I was any lower, he would have probably said no. Because at Me Aesthetics, you have to be above a 10.9 to have surgery. And then anywhere from 11.0 to 11.9, you have to have a cell saver. Well, as far as my doctor requires. So moving forward, he comes in and I'm like starstruck. Because I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is the infamous Dr. G. So then he's like, how are you? And we're talking and everything. And he's like, okay, what's going on? And then he's like, okay, stand up. Let me see your vision board. And I'm showing him everything. And he's dying at my vision board, which I'm going to insert it in here. So he's laughing at all the quotes and everything. And he's like, okay, this is doable. We could do this. And then he's looking at me and he's on my console. And he's like, okay, why are you here? And I'm like, what do you mean, why am I here? And he's like, why are you having surgery? And I'm like, because I want it. And he's like, but you don't need it. And I'm like, see what you said? But I want it. And he's like, but where's the fat? So I was like standing like this, and I was like, okay, let me stick it out. And I like kind of push my stomach out, and he's like, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. Like, where's the fat? He's like, you have no fat. And I'm like, okay, but you're gonna find it though. So we're going back and forth, and then he's like, okay, well, turn around. And he's like, okay, well, you have no back fat, but I could get a little bit from here, from your armpit. So I'm like, okay. He's like, do you want hips? I'm like, I want hips. I said, I want an ass with projection and cup it, but I don't want to look like an ant. And he's like, okay. I said, I need my thighs and my ass to match, Dr. G, because I said, I'll hop off that table. And he started laughing and all that stuff. He's talking, and then he's asking me, like, what do you do for a living? And, tell him I'm a flight attendant, and, we're going back and forth. And then he takes pictures. Of course, the nurse is in the room the entire time because, once again, as always, if you're dealing with a male doctor, there's always a female in the room with you. Now, to move forward and to really, I really want to emphasize on the professionalism and the kindness of my doctor and the reason why I chose him in the first place. First thing and foremost, not once did I ever feel uncomfortable. I didn't feel like this man was here and he was more concerned about the dollar, because off the rip, he already told me I didn't need the surgery. And when I was like, well, I still want it, he's like, well, if you want me to take your money, I'll take your money. Not only that, but he didn't point out things that I needed on top of what I was already getting, which I hear a lot of girls say that doctors do that, and they've come across doctors where they're there for one thing and then they're recommending, oh, well, you should get lipo of the face, or you should get your boobs done, or you should do this, you should do that. And I feel like as a woman, that is the most degrading and especially if you're a person that has insecurities, it can definitely pry on you. So I will definitely say, if you want a doctor that's there, Dr. G is the way to go. Moving forward, after we had that whole discussion and he looked at my vision board, he was like, okay, I could get you what you want. And I told him, I said, listen, you're gonna make this waist as small as possible. I want no waist. He's like, you want no waist? I was like, no waist. So he leaves out, and then now it's time for the anesthesiologist to come in. Now, I've never had anesthesia. I've never had any needles here. I think I gave them a hard time because I kept going back and forth with wanting it up here, and they told me no. So they put the needle down here. Once again, this is something else that I hear a lot of girls complain about, because a lot of us have never had an IV here or have had blood drawn here. So the anesthesiologist come in. Once again, this is a tall, big man, and he's like, okay, he asks us a series of questions. Have you had surgery? Have you ever been under anesthesia? When was the last time you've been pregnant? Have you ever been pregnant? Just all these series of questions. Do you have a heart murmur? All this stuff. And of course, I said no to everything. And while he's talking to me, the nurse is putting the damn IV in my hand, and I'm telling her, like, she's like, oh, you can look away. And I'm like, no, I need to look, because I need to make sure that you're doing it right. So after they leave out, they tell you it's gonna take about 40 minutes to an hour for the IV to like fully go in, and all it is like saline. But I feel like the saline was like, it had something in it that made me calm, because out of nowhere I just became like, just calm. I don't know if it's because I spoke to Dr. G and he made me feel comfortable, and he answered the questions that I have, even though I didn't have any questions, to the point that I even forgot to tell the man I wanted chin lipo added to my thing, because I was so like, ugh. But after that, you sit there for another 40 minutes and 50 minutes, and then my boyfriend and my best friends was out eating, and I was texting them, like giving them like play-by-play. Okay, this just happened. Okay, this just happened. I got this, I got that. And then I hear a knock at the door, and the nurse comes in, and she's like, we're ready for you. And I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. And I texted my boyfriend, and this was, I can never forget the time. It was 8:30, or about 8:30, 8:40. And I was like, yeah, they're taking me back now. And it's like you're walking down this long corridor, and it's like you're like walking, like, it's like every step I took is like, I was like, oh shit, this is really happening. So you get into the operating room. Once again, this is based off of my doctor, and he's like standing at the door like this, and he's like, all right, Jocelyn, you ready? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, well, come in. And I'm like, but I said no. And he starts laughing, and then they tell me to take everything off. So, and there's like 10 people in the room, I kid you not. There's like assistants, people cleaning, anesthesiologists, there's a whole bunch of people in the room. And I'm like, okay, all these people are about to see me butt ass naked, like what the hell? So take everything off. He told me to get on the bed, and I was like shaking uncontrollably, like shaking. And he's like, oh my God, you're cold. And I'm like, no, this isn't shakes from being cold, bro. I'm scared. So he's like, don't worry, you're in good hands, like you're fine, trust me, you'll be good. And he got me a blanket, and then he gave me another blanket, and he stayed there with me, and he's talking. And once again, this is something that everybody mentions about him. I have not heard anyone have a different story, where he stays by your bedside until you are knocked out. So you're the last person he sees. And he's like talking to me, and he's like, okay, so you're a flight attendant, like where do you fly? Have you ever, like, he's trying to like make small talk to take your mind off of everything. And then they put like the probes on you and everything, and mine started like going crazy, and I like flicked my head because I'm like, oh my God, is it my pressure? Because once again, if your pressure keeps skyrocketing before you even put under, you are canceled. So he's like, oh no, you're fine, don't worry about it. The anesthesiologist comes in, and then he's like, all right, Jocelyn, you ready? And I'm like, I guess at this point I'm strapped down, like, they strap you down, arms, legs, everything. And then the anesthesiologist tells you, okay, you're gonna feel a little burning sensation, and they put a mask over your face, and they tell you, okay, count backwards from, is this 20 or 10? And I just remember going 10, 9, and I was gone, out like a light. I don't remember what happened after that. I just remember being in the recovery room. I woke up with a heating fan blowing hot ass air on me, and I was shaking uncontrollably. And I remember the lady telling me, okay, mommy, like, it's time for you to turn over. And I said, you want me to roll over? And she's like, yeah, because they put you on your back. So she's like, yeah, roll over on your stomach. And I said, okay, no problem. And I literally just picked myself up and rolled over with no problem. And I was in the bed like shaking. I wasn't in severe pain. Like I hear girls say that, oh, I felt like I got hit by a truck and da-da-da. No, I didn't feel that. So then I remember hearing them talk to my boyfriend, and I remember him saying, yeah, we're 11 minutes away, we're on our way. And I'm like, oh my God, they need to fucking hurry up. Because at this point I started feeling like a sharp pain just like literally shot through my stomach. And I was uncomfortable in the bed that I was laying in. So then as soon as I like asked them, can I have my phone? They were like, okay, your boyfriend's downstairs, let's go. And I'm like, okay. So of course I had researched and everything, so I knew how to like maneuver. So I remember like pushing myself up and crawling back from the back of the bed and sitting, and I just felt like a rush of like fluid just leaked out. And I'm like, oh my God, I just leaked on the floor. And she's like, ay, mommy, no problem. We see that all the time. And I remember telling her, oh my God, I'm dizzy. And she's like, okay, you want some Gatorade? And I'm like, yeah. So they gave me Gatorade. I had that. And of course, I can never forget waking up, and I was hysterical in the sense of I kept just saying, thank you, God. Like, I literally kept saying, thank you, God, because I was like, shit, I'm alive. Like, thank God. Then, of course, they wheel you downstairs, and I meet my peeps, as y'all like to call them, my support group. And I got in the truck by myself. When my best friend tried to help me get up, and my boyfriend tried to help me get up, I said no. I got in the truck by myself. They gave them my post-op instructions. They tell you you're not supposed to shower for 24 hours after, or technically until you go to your post-op massages the next day, so you can't shower for the entire time. So imagine sitting there with that stuffing, because they don't put the boards or the what's that called, the foams. They stuff you with literally chucks and maxi pads. You have to stay there with all of that on you, and you're soaking wet. It feels absolutely atrocious. It's disgusting. And we get in the car and we drive away. And day one post-op, honestly, to me, it was a piece of cake. I remember I got in the car. They gave me Tylenol as soon as I got in the car. They got me soup. I fed myself. I went to the bathroom by myself. What else happened after that? The one thing I will say is the massages hurt like a bitch. I'm telling you, they hurt. From a scale from 1 to 10, it is a 25. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're super stiff the first week, and then obviously weeks after, a lot of things just keep happening, things keep changing. I think that's the most I've ever cried in my life. Week 2 and week 3 and week 4, I was extra emotional because everything just felt different. But I was mainly stiff. Like I said, the pain is not what everybody says it is. Well, for me, I didn't feel like I got hit by a truck. So after your first, I want to say, I'm not going to call it 24 hours, because I came out of surgery at like, I guess you said like 10, 11 o'clock. Well, by the time I walked into the hotel, it was 11 o'clock, and I walked into the hotel by myself, no wheelchair or anything. The first few hours, once again, is crucial. You'll hear some girls say that they've passed out. They couldn't get up from the bed. They've gotten dizzy. They fainted. They couldn't use the bathroom by themselves. They needed assistance. I didn't have any of those issues, thank God. I don't know if it's the cell saver that helped me, which I think that it did, because I was in my eyes, I'm anemic. I'm severely anemic, according to my PCP. But I think the cell saver helped me a lot, and I kid you not, they did not play when it came to my hydration. Like, I told them, when y'all pick me up, make sure that pineapple juice is in the car, make sure there's a bottle of water, and the liquid IV hydration that I've showed y'all about, which was amazing. And I kid you not, I was literally alternating between those three things. Like, I would drink like half a cup of pineapple juice, then I would drink half a cup of water, then I would go to the liquid IV hydration. Then Dr. Georges was okay with Gatorade. Some doctors are not okay with Gatorade because the salt and the sugar, he was okay with it. He said, just don't drink it in moderation. Don't drink it a lot. So I definitely was like going back and forth between all those 5 things. And I remember my homegirl was like, are you seriously drinking all those 5 drinks? And I'm like, hell yeah, because what I don't want is to be dehydrated, and then I get up and I pass out, not only because my blood is low, but also because I'm dehydrated. So, and you're going to get up and go to the bathroom, which is annoying. You're going to pee a lot, especially after having surgery and feeling the way that you're feeling. It's definitely annoying getting up and go to the bathroom, but it's worth it, because you do not want to pass out or end up getting dizzy or being hospitalized because your hemo's too low and now you have to have a blood transfusion. So yeah, those first few hours, I felt, like I said earlier, I felt stiff. I was in pain, but the pain was tolerable. I didn't have to take the perks. And actually, I lied. I took one Percocet, but we cut it in half. So I took half of a Percocet pill. I took my nausea pill because I was getting nauseous. I want to say maybe around 5 p.m. is when I started getting dizzy. Like, I tried to get up and I got like super dizzy. So I laid back down, and I think I laid down for about 2.5 hours, which obviously you're supposed to be moving every hour because you want your blood to circulate and you don't want to get blood clots. So a trick that I learned is while you're laying in bed, if you're too dizzy to get up to walk around like you're supposed to, lay in bed and just keep flexing your ankles and moving your legs up and down like this. It'll still get the blood flow going, and it'll still feel like you're moving around so you don't get those blood clots. And of course, wear your compression socks. So yeah, around that time, I couldn't move for a little bit because I was dizzy. He was passed out. I was in the bed, and then finally when I was able to get up, I remember getting up, and I was actually twerking in my best friend's room. I was actually twerking. I was up dancing, and I was walking around, walking back and forth and all that good stuff. I slept, but that first week, I honestly, the first week and a half, 2 weeks, I didn't sleep a full night's rest. I would get up like almost every hour, every 2 hours. I kept getting up. It was just uncomfortable sleeping. I'm not accustomed, well, at the time I wasn't accustomed to being a stomach sleeper. I don't sleep on my stomach for long periods of time. I'll be on my stomach for a little bit and then turn over. So that's something else that you're gonna have to get used to, because sleeping on your stomach is a must. Moving into, while I'm laying there, I'm getting some rest because I was in and out of sleep. The anesthesia was still in my system. Once again, you're not only drinking water to keep yourself hydrated, but you also gotta constantly drink water because you need to flush your system out from all that anesthesia. You want to get that anesthesia out of your body. So I get a phone call and an email saying the time of post-op. Now, post-op was like 6 o'clock in the morning as well. At post-op, which I ended up paying for 3 massages at Mia, and I also got massages by Judith. So I would go in the morning to Mia, and Judith came in the afternoon. I was having literally 2 massages a day when I was there. So you head over to post-op. Post-op, you check in, is in a totally different area than where you have surgery and where the clinic is and everything like that. You go in, and it's like, it could be 5 of y'all, 6 of y'all to the room being packed, nowhere to sit. You sign in, you tell them that you had what kind of surgery they asked, you put your name down and the time, you sit there and you wait. I kid you not, I was sitting there waiting to get my massage. This is the part that I hated, that pissed me off with my whole experience with Mia. I sat there for about almost an hour waiting to go in the back to get a massage. And I'm gonna tell you why it pissed me off. So you're sitting there, and we're all the girls are sitting there, we're all complaining, and some of the girls is like, listen, I'm in so much pain. I'm just looking at them like, how the hell y'all in pain? Like how y'all are saying you're in pain. And I will say I had what you want to call it, the duck walk, the pregnancy walk, the walk where you're walking like this. I had that walk, that slow walk, and once again, that goes back to the stiffness, your skin not stretching the way that it's supposed. It's just disgusting. So now finally I get called to the back, and they tell me to undress, and I'm like, literally they tell you to, okay, take everything off, and I'm like, everything? They're like, yeah, and they literally walk out the room. No one stays in there to be like, okay, let me watch you to see, like, and they tell you when you first take your garments off, when you release that low compression and you take off the faja, you're gonna feel dizzy. So shouldn't someone be in the room with me while I'm taking something off? God forbid I faint or I pass out. So that kind of threw me off. And once again, like I said, each department is different. And this is the post-op department, and I hated the experience with them. They were terrible in my opinion. So yeah, I took everything off, and I remember taking everything off, and I like stood and I got dizzy. And I remember saying to her, she came back into the room, I remember saying to her, yo, I'm dizzy. And she's like, okay, well, here's some alcohol pads. And she put them down in the thing. And I'm like, damn, I gotta open this myself too. Like, and she's like, okay, you could go ahead and lay down on the bed. And I'm like, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, wow, that's a big ass. I remember saying that because I'm like, I looked at my wristband, it was like 1300 cc. So now I'm laying on the bed and I'm freezing. Like, it's cold in the office. So I'm butt-ass naked, I'm laying there, I'm dizzy, and I'm still waiting for them to come in and give me my massage. So I want to say another 15, 20 minutes go by and still nobody's in there. And I'm like, I'm getting irritated now because I want to go. So finally, one of the massage guys come in, and he comes in. He's like, okay, hi, okay. And he starts massaging me. And the back wasn't, to me, out of all the massages, the back was the easiest. When he got to the sides, yeah. Which was expected because I wanted such a small waist. My doctor was super aggressive on my sides. So he did the massage in the back. Then he was like, hey, sit up, get on your knees. So I'm on my knees and I'm holding my breast up like this. They make you hold your boobs up and your arms like this. And he starts massaging. He squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, we're done. That massage literally lasted 8 minutes. So that's what pissed me off, because you got us waiting there for an hour and 20, an hour, 2 hours. I've heard some girls say that they were waiting for their massages for a 15-minute, 10-minute massage, 8-minute massage. That's unacceptable. So he does all of that. Doesn't even tell me like, oh, suck it in, anything, whatever, whatever. He puts my panties on, like this thong on. They give me my faja. They put my faja in a bag, and he puts some maxi pads on the sides, and he's like, okay, doctor will be in with you, and just walks out. So I'm like, okay. So now I wait another 20 minutes, which on Dr. G's part, I understand, because he was in surgery at the time. So I'm guessing he left out of surgery to come to talk to me to go back in. So your doctor will come in and they'll look you over and tell you what they did and, you know, what they couldn't do for you. And when he came in, I was like laying down, and he's like, hey, Jocelyn. I'm like, hey. I looked at him and said, why'd you give me such a big ass? And he was like, well, you wanted a smaller waist. And I'm like, yeah, but 1,300 cc's though. And he's like, trust me, 1,300 cc's looks different on everybody, the same way 1,500 cc's looks, different. And he was like, when the swelling goes down, trust me. Once again, there was a woman in the room, another, like a nurse, a female nurse in the room with me while he was in there. And she's like, yo, he did a good job. She's like, yeah, your waist, I could see it. You're going to be a problem. And I started laughing, and he's like, yeah, all of this is swelling. He's telling me everything. He's like, you did good. I feel like I got what you asked for. I was able to do it. So I was like, okay, cool. I was looking at my hips, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like, my hips are not as wide as I wanted them to be. And I think that's my fault, in the sense of I asked for hips, and I should have asked for hips and lats combination. For the look I was going for, I should have asked for hips and lats instead of just hips. But once again, I'm still satisfied with it because I think I'm fluffing, so I look a little bit thicker now. But after that, what happens after that? You literally leave, and they tell you, like, you get dressed, you put your robe on or whatever you came in, and they tell you, okay, you're gonna have your second post-op appointment or whatever. But mind you, I only paid for one massage at Mia, and I got 2 massages for free. I don't know if they billed me for it or what they did, but initially I had only booked 1 massage. So I don't know how I ended up getting the other 2 massages, but whatever. She was like, okay, we'll call you or we'll email you for your post-op massage tomorrow. And I was like, post-op massage? I only got 1 with y'all, because I heard that they were pointless. And I only wanted the first massage because I wanted the doctor to look at me to tell me how everything was and if I looked good. And, I wanted them to look at my incisions and feel my skin. And they do all of that at the post-op massage. Like, they feel your skin. They tell you, okay, your skin looks good. Everything looks good. They look for infection. They look for bruising. And that was about it. That was post-op, day 2 post-op. They try to sell you stuff, whether it's a stage 2 faja, if you want the CBD gummies, they have all those things on, they have all those things posted, like on display. But yeah, I heard the Mia stage 2 faja is not worth it, so don't even bother spending your money. I ended up buying 2 stage 1 fajas while I was there, so I could swap into one when the other one was soiled. But so tell me, how was the experience for you when I had surgery?
Terrible.
Wow. Like, you didn't even think about it, you just went straight into it.
It was terrible because of 1, you're in pain, and then 2, it was terrible because you're in pain.
So you had surgery too?
Technically, you have to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Attentive, 24/7.
I was like needy?
No, you should have been, but you were trying to be independent. But you're cool compared to what I've heard.
Okay, so what was it like then waiting for the phone call that I came out of surgery?
Can you hurry up?
No, so seriously, how long did it take? Because
it took an hour and change.
It was an hour? So I told you I went back at 8:30.
And we had to come at like 9. No, we came at 10 something.
10 something. We were in the room by 11.
Just about.
Okay, so then my surgery didn't take long because clearly he really didn't, like I mentioned before, he really didn't have much to do. Compared to like sometimes you'll see some people say their surgery lasted like 3 hours top, 2.5 hours top.
It probably was big.
It's not nice. Okay, what's the next question I got? Okay, you said the experience was horrible, right? But overall, would you do it again?
No. You want to do it again, but I clearly would have to be there. But to see fluid, no. First of all, it means nothing to bathe you. You need to be bathed fine. But to see fluid leak out of a human constantly, every day, for about a week, well,
it's the same thing as being on your cycle.
That's a whole different ballgame. Your insides are cleaning itself. Somebody's pushing liquids, and they're telling you support, and then you just seeing blood squirt out. That's not normal. We don't let that. I mean, it's support to be there for you, and I sucked it up because of you. But bruh, I have a choice not to do it again. No,
we're doing it again. So
she's doing it again.
No, this is a team. We are a team.
Yeah, the team says no, not again.
Doing it again.
Okay.
So who's gonna go with me next?
That's the well, you better get a www.bestfriend.com and you don't need it again, bro. You're good.
So if we have kids,
if I had done the damage, or if little Hearsay did the damage,
Hearsay, that's good.
Whoever, if they did the damage, and it's that bad where it's like, damn, all right, maybe. Okay, yeah, but I have to babysit the kids, so I don't know if it's gonna go.
You gonna have to what?
Babysit the kids.
Babysit?
Yeah.
No, you're a parent too. Men don't babysit. They watch their children.
Even better.
He's still coming, and the baby's coming too. So I don't know what the hell he think he's talking about.
We gonna be in our own hotel. Like, mommy's crazy, right? You'll be fine.
There's no baby in there though.
You don't know that.
Wow. You know what? Go away. Because just go away. Would I recommend Mia Aesthetics? Hell yes. I didn't have a problem with them. Like I said, everyone was super nice besides the girls at the check-in counter. They were just like, they didn't like their job. My surgeon was amazing. He gave me exactly what I asked for. I do think he could have did more lipo on my back, but what I wanted is what he gave me. And once again, I didn't even have much fat for him to work with in the first place. And would I go back to him for a round 2? Hell yes, because he did an amazing job. And as I always tell girls, and a lot of the surgery pages that I'm a part of where people complain about how their body turned out, is remember, you are not where you started. And even if you don't have the body that you wanted at the time, you can always build it by working out. And you can go for a round 2 if that works for you. But like I said, Mia Aesthetics was amazing. My experience was amazing. I didn't have a bad experience. My massage lady, which I rave about her every time I do a vlog, Judith, book her. I hated her when she was doing my massages. She was pissing me off. But if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would have healed the way that I healed. She did an amazing job. She will squeeze you dry. And as I always tell people, trust your body, listen to your body, know what works for you, and do not compare your journey to other people. As much as it's hard to, because you see other people and you're like, oh my God, she looks like she's doing amazing and she's doing great. Just trust your process. Your process is your process. And stay away from the comparison. People tend to compare you to other people, or you'll have people that tell you you look like you had surgery. It's just all these crazy, just stay away from the negativity. Once again, get it done. I will show y'all my 4 months body update in a few. That is post-op, that is surgery day, that is pre-op day. Any questions, comment below. Once again, like I said, everybody's journey is different. Everybody's experience is different. So what you might have experienced, I don't know, some people might not have it, but overall, on a scale from 1 to 10 with me aesthetics, they get about an 8. And what was knocked off was against, like I said, the check-in counter and the people at post-op. They had me hot. They really got me hot. But other than that, Dr. Georges was amazing. His nurses was amazing. The anesthesiologist was amazing. Go for it. Get the body that you want and invest in yourself, girl.